Look at this question for a while. It's a familiar question type, sentence completion. The moment you look at this question type, you would understand this question tests you on vocabulary skills. That's the typical requirement for this question type. But the problem here is your vocabulary really good? So once you understand, you have to be very strong in vocabulary for these questions. The immediate thought or fear that comes to your mind is, what if my vocabulary skills are limited? To start with, do not get perturbed. Please don't panic, because I like to give you a logical approach to solve this question, which would help you to answer question even though your vocabulary skills are limited. Let's go on to this question. I like to begin with the format of this question type. You are given an incomplete sentence, either with one blank or two blanks, followed by four options. And the most common approach is trying to plug in each choice into the sentence and to choose a choice that sounds fit. If you are solving sentence completion questions in this way, by plugging in one option after another, please don't, because this is disastrous. Try to think for yourself for a moment. You haven't understood the question, and let's assume your vocabulary is limited, and you're trying to find an answer for a question in aptitude test just by plugging in answer choices. If you try to plug in answer choices and if you think that you're getting a right answer, this is the similar way in which your competitor is also going to do it. And if by plugging in alone without knowing the meaning of a word, if you think that you get an answer, the entire question type defeats the purpose of aptitude test. If everyone can solve this question by plugging in answer choices, then why should the person who sets the question paper should have a question on sentence completion if everyone can solve it? Hope you get my logic. So the first thing that you notice, especially in the aptitude component, don't do which others do. Try to have a unique approach which helps you to answer questions accurately and, most importantly, confidently. Now note down the steps. Step 1 for all sentence completion questions: please hide or cover the choices. Do not look at the options. The moment you read the question, you would be tempted to look at the answer choices immediately, and by looking at the answer choices, your thought process will get influenced. Step 1. Let's do that for this question. Let's say step 1, let us ignore the answer choices. Step 2, try to read the sentence and get the overall meaning. Yes, the sentence is incomplete, but still you can read it and get the overall meaning of the sentence. The onset of the earthquake was gradual. The tremors occurred dash at first, then with greater frequency. While you read a sentence, believe me, definitely you can understand the overall meaning. I say so because you have been learning English for years together. Definitely reading a sentence will help you to understand the overall meaning. Perhaps if you find it difficult to understand the overall meaning, then you can ask yourself who or what the sentence talks about. I would say step 2 can be split into two sub-steps. The moment you read a sentence, you would get the overall meaning. In case you find it difficult to get the overall meaning, you can ask yourself who or what the sentence talks about. In this case, who or what the sentence talks about? The sentence talks about the onset of earthquake or how earthquake occurred. That's point 1. And second point, the moment you get an answer for who or what the sentence talks about, ask yourself What is the information provided about who or what? In the given sentence, if you are able to get answer for these two questions, you end up with overall meaning of a sentence. For your better understanding, or I like to elaborate second step, you need to read the question alone, and reading once will help you to get the overall meaning. By chance you find it difficult to get the overall meaning, you ask yourself who or what the sentence talks about and try to find out the information given about who or what. The combined answer for these two questions gets you the overall meaning of the sentence. Here we have read it, we have understood the sentence talks about onset of earthquake, and the information given about the onset of earthquake is how it occurred. Step 3, predict a word for the blank. If you can understand the overall meaning, you can come up with a word for the blank on your own. The onset of the earthquake was gradual. The tremors occurred dash at first, then with greater frequency. We are able to predict it. What could be the word for the blank here? If it strikes you straight, well and good. If you find it difficult to predict, again, don't worry. Search for a clue. If you are finding it difficult to predict a word for the blank, do not worry. Search for a clue. Do note, every sentence completion question will carry a clue for the blank. Now let's try to find out where the clue lies in the given question. The onset of the earthquake was gradual. The tremors occurred dash at first, then with greater frequency. So if you observe closer, the clue for the blank lies in this segment. This says then with greater frequency, which means at first the frequency must have been less. So from the clue itself we can predict a word for the blank. Now we can easily predict the word for the blank should mean less frequency. Step 4. Once the prediction is done, this is the most crucial juncture that you are arrived at. Till you predict a word for the blank, do not look at the options. The reason is, if you look at the options will influence your thought process. Therefore, till you predict a word for the blank, do not look at the options. Once the prediction is complete, step 4 is to apply the prediction on choices. Here, the prediction is less frequency. Look at the option A, it's continuously. The moment you look at option A, you can easily eliminate it, because had it been a continuous process, we wouldn't have split it into 2 stages at first and then. So option A gets eliminated. Look at option B. The moment you look at the option B, you can understand the meaning. The word intensely means strongly. Here the word we look for the blank should mean less frequency, hence B can also be eliminated. Option C, now here lies the trouble. Sporadically, I would say many of you wouldn't know the meaning for this word. In such circumstance, please reserve the choice. Hold the option for a while. And the point to be noted is, when you do not know the meaning for the word given in the answer choice, do not eliminate. See, if we do not know the meaning, it doesn't mean the option is wrong. We don't know the option, hence we do not have a reason to eliminate. Option C is reserved. Look at option D, unexpectedly. The word unexpectedly means suddenly, and you can easily eliminate it because a sudden occurrence will not happen in stages. So we are left with option C. Answer is option C. Do you find this approach interesting? We don't know the meaning for the option, but we are very much certain that the option E is the right choice. That's the first advantage of this approach. By the way, the word sporadically means occasionally or infrequently. Answer for this question is C. Now let's go for the next question. Step 1 is to hide the options. I have deliberately hidden the options. Let's go to the question. You have to read the sentence and you have to get the overall meaning. Now, what's the overall meaning of the sentence? Even though formidable winters are the norm in the decades, many people were unprepared for the dash of the blizzard of 1888. The first thought that would occur to your mind is you would be slightly taken back by the words of formidable and blizzard. Relax. There isn't a need to know dictionary meaning of every word. It's more than enough if you can comprehend the contextual meaning of the sentence. Let's go slowly. Even though formidable winters are the norm in the decades. First, what do you understand by this word decades? This begins with a capital letter, so this must be a name of a place, right? Even though formidable winters are the norm in the decades. This everyone knows. And with the first segment, we can understand in the place decades, formidable winters are the norm, or people living in decades are used to formidable winters. If we could understand it this way, then we can guess the word formidable means something unbearable. I am helping you to get the contextual meaning. Do not worry about the dictionary meaning. In this context, we can understand the word formidable winters, or the word formidable means unbearable. So people living in decades are used to unbearable winters, because the sentence says are the norm in the decades, comma, many people were unprepared for the dash of the blizzard of 1888. So from the given sentence, we can understand the word blizzard should mean a weather situation which should be worse than formidable winter, or we can say a worse weather situation. Even here, I haven't given you a dictionary meaning. I'm just helping you to get the contextual meaning of the sentence, because that is what you need to improve on. Can you come out with a word for the blank? We have hidden the options. We have tried to get the overall meaning. Now we understood going by the sentence, and when we understood the overall meaning, can you predict a word? What could be the word? Can you guess? Many people were unprepared for the dash of the blizzard. So guess could be severity of the blizzard. The blizzard was very severe and many were unprepared for it. Because step 2 is to get the overall meaning of the sentence. Step 3 is to predict a word. We have predicted it. Now let's move on to the answer choices. We have predicted the word as severity, isn't it? We have guessed the word for the blank as severity. Let's move on to the options. Let's apply it on the option. The word inevitability doesn't mean severity 1. And there is another way also. The word inevitable means unavoidable. For an unavoidable circumstance, there isn't any need to be prepared or unprepared for. Either way, option A can be eliminated. Option B, ferocity. If you know the meaning, well and good. If you do not know, reserve it, because that's a condition. When we do not know the meaning for the options given, we will reserve the option. Option C, the word importance doesn't mean severity, eliminated. And look at the word probability, it doesn't mean severity. Answer must be option B. Plastic bags are dash symbols of consumer society. They are found wherever you travel. Step 1 is to ignore the answer choices, and that's what I have done. I've just given you the question. Step 2, you need to read the sentence and get the overall meaning. While you do it, in this case, there is a chance that you make an error. Plastic bags are dash symbols of consumer society. Please look closely. You have been given a semicolon. Had there been a full stop, you could predict any word. But here you have been given a semicolon and there is an extension, isn't it? It says they are found wherever you travel. Simple logic. The purpose of this extension is to describe this blank. So in other words, the word for the blank in this sentence should mean found wherever you travel. I try to understand, were you able to understand what I am trying to do here? If your prediction is difficult, I am helping you with a structural clue. Just by looking the sentence very closely, you can arrive at the prediction. You can guess the meaning for the word in the blank. Here, the word for the blank should roughly mean found wherever you travel, or it should say common, because that's what the extension says. They are found wherever you travel. Once it's done, go on to the options. We predicted the word as common. Apply to the options. Within a few seconds, you can eliminate option A, option B. Rare, temporary, do not mean common. Now there is another trouble. The word ubiquitous, you do not know the meaning. Hope you remember the condition. We will not eliminate a choice when we do not know the meaning. Hence, C is reserved. Option D. At this juncture, you might trip on option D, assuming that the word perfect means common. No, the word perfect doesn't mean common. Eliminate D as well. Answer is C. The second advantage of this logic is it can help you to pick the choice even though you do not know the meaning for the answer choice. And from the guess itself, you can understand the word ubiquitous means common.